Hello all and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Susan Malloy of Silver Lady Stamping. I'm glad that you could join me today because I have a really fun card for you today. It's a slimline card that I actually cased from Stampin' Up from their website. If you haven't already cased Stampin' Up samples that are in their catalog or online, you should. That's what they're there for, and that's what the word case means. Copy and share everything. They want us to use their samples. Their in-house artists spend a lot of time creating those samples that you see in the catalog, not just to promote the stamp sets and the dies that are used to make those samples, but also to provide you with inspiration. And so when they see that we're using those samples and casing them and then sharing those, they love that because they know that we're inspired by what they're doing, and that inspires them to keep doing it. So let me just show you what the card is. So this is, as I said, it's a slimline card that is basically the only stamping is with the sentiment label, and it's made with, the die is from Artistically Inked dies. We're not even going to use the stamp set because I use the sentiment on the sentiment label is from Waves of Inspiration. But you could pretty much just use any stamp set that you have. I mean, you don't have to be tied to what I did. But I'm going to just flip the camera so I can show you how to put this together. So here's another view of the card, and what I did was use a Balmy Blue card base and another Balmy Blue layer. I did some I used my blender brush to blend in some additional Balmy Blue ink all around the edges. This is the Stampin' Up silver foil paper, which is fabulous. And they also have gold foil and rose gold foil. Now, when I opened my case for the Artistically Inked dies, I had forgotten that I had already die cut some from the rose gold, and I have a number of excuse me, a number of pieces that I die cut using the rose gold foil paper. This is a piece of Blackberry Bliss, just for an example, and I think this rose gold would look terrific on against Blackberry Bliss. Now, it probably looks more like a gold foil paper on the camera, I don't know, but it is the rose gold, and I think it looks pretty terrific on the Blackberry Bliss paper, and I think it would look great either now or maybe even in the fall. Love it. And then this is Calypso Coral, which I kind of liked it on that too. Although I kind of think that maybe using the gold foil would look just as good on the Calypso Coral. So I'm going to stay tuned on that. I want to try to do more with the foil paper and the die cuts. I love them. I think that the prettier the die cuts, the happier I am. So let me bring this card back and we'll get started. So the slimline cards can be cut in a number of different lengths and widths, but this particular one that I did is cut at 7 inches by 8.5, and then you're going to score it at 3.5. All right, so, and then what I want to do is I'm going to put some color all around the edges, just using my Balmy Blue ink pad and my blending brush. So I'm going to just swirl it around just swirl it around on your ink pad to pick up some color, and then start off your paper. You've probably heard this before, but if you haven't, if you've not done this before, then swirl your blender brush, do a little swirling on your paper, and then slide it over. And the reason for that is if you start directly on your cardstock, you could get a blotch, and we don't want that. So let me go back and do it again. So I'm just going to go around the edges. I'm not going to do the center part. That's not what I'm looking for. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a deeper color. I mean, you can really honestly put so much color on your paper by just doing some tone on tone, which is just use your same color ink as your cardstock, and you'll it'll be a really nice effect. And the blending brushes are just super easy to use, and obviously they're sold by Stampin' Up. And as you can see, I mean, I'm just easily putting color onto this paper with no effort, really, no effort whatsoever. All right, so we'll just do a little bit. I'll just go back over it a little bit more. Actually, I think I'm good with that. I don't want it to be like too dark or anything. I'm just looking to put some extra color on it. All right, so the next layer is also Balmy Blue, and it's going to be a square measuring 3.5 by 3.5. And what we're going to do with this piece, and I don't know if you can see, it's the score line. So it almost looks like beadboard. And I'm going to score it at 1/4 inch all the way across. So I'm actually going to do it with my scoring tool, the Stampin' Up scoreboard, rather than my paper trimmer. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. For those of you who are not familiar with this, so this is the scoreboard, and it comes with a stylus, a scoring stylus, and this end has a thicker one ballpoint on it, and this one has a thinner one. So I'm going to use the thicker side, and I'm going to just put it in the top left corner, and I'm going to put it at 1/4, and so that just means you go there's some little divots all the way underneath. You can see the ruler at the top, but maybe what you can't see, I don't know if I turn it, you can see all these little divots. Okay, well, those are little measurements too. Tells you where you need to go. So at a quarter, here's the 1/4 mark, right? Let me bring this down a little bit so you can see it better. This is the 1/4 mark. All I have to do to be, the dummy's way, which is my way, 1, 2. Just go into the second divot and then just score down. All right, and then you're going to do that all the way across. Do it 2 more and score. 2 more and score. So this way you don't even necessarily have to be like measuring. You just do it 2 over and score. Can you hear it clicking? That's just me going to the next 2. I mean, it's so simple, super easy. Then you want to go all the way across, and you get a nice score. We're not going to fold it afterwards. These are not folding lines. These are just score lines to make it look like beadboard. All right, and that's it. That's as much scoring as we're going to do. Putting the, so I'll show you the little, flip it over. There's where the little stylus has a little It just pops out, and you can just, when you're done, you just pop it back in and store it. Okay, oops, this is all twisted around. Okay, so I'm going to just put it kind of at the top 1/3 of the card, but I'm going to put some dimensionals. I want to pop it up on dimensionals. You know, anytime I place an order with Stampin' Up, and I have, you know, if my order is $150 or more, you know, you get Stampin' Rewards, right? Where you get free products that you can then order right directly in the order that you're placing in that moment. And whenever I get, whenever that happens, I'm usually ordering these things: dimensionals, adhesive, cardstock. That's when I order my consumables. I don't typically use my rewards for things like stamp sets because what I'm using most is the consumable stuff, anything having to do with adhesives, or you could even do ribbon, stamp and seal. I mean, all of that. That's what I usually order. So I have a drawer full of liquid glue, and I have a bunch of dimensionals. But I also do in-person card classes, and so some of my ladies bring their own supplies, including their adhesives, but sometimes they forget, and so they're using my products. And that's fine. I don't mind that they're using my products, but that's one of the reasons why I order it when I get it for free, is so I can have it on hand. All right, so next step, you'll want to die cut from the gold, using the not gold foil, the silver foil paper, Stampin' Up! Silver foil paper. And this is the die from this is the stamp set, the Artistically Inked. This is the two-step stamping stamp set, and it has companion dies. So we're going to use this large die. So take this one off and die cut one entire piece, because we have to just trim off a little bit because some of it's going to hang off the edge. All right, but we also want to cut like some pieces, because the way we're going to do this here, I'll bring my other card in again. Whoops, that. I'm taking a piece, and I know I tucked it underneath here, and then underneath another piece at the bottom. So cut partial pieces. So one full one and then some partial at the same time. Or you could just do two full ones and then cut them apart. It depends on how much of the silver foil paper you have. If you only have, if you have to be frugal with it, you may not have enough. If you've been using it already, you may not have enough to do two full pieces. So, and if you only have enough for one full piece and not the rest, or you prefer not to do additional pieces, that's fine too, because this is just as pretty by itself. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put the top piece on first. I'm going to set this aside. Now, it's such a intricate piece that the way I'm going to put the adhesive on the back is to use my silicone craft sheet, because nothing sticks to this. And if you get glue all over it, once you're done, you just take it to your sink, put it under some water, give it a little scrub, and it comes right off. So you just squeeze a little liquid glue onto your silicone craft sheet, and then this is just one of those little, I cut a piece of craft sponge and then used a binder clip to hold it in place, so it's like a little handle. And then you just flip your piece over and then pick up some glue and just dab it all over. And that way you're not getting like lots of glue like everywhere. All right, I probably should have used my scissors to snip off some extra pieces, but I won't worry about it. I can do it afterwards. All right. So I'm just gonna put that. I think I will do it this way. Okay. And then when you press it down, it really does stay down. And there you go. So now I have to put the other two pieces on the top and then on the bottom. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of trimming. Oh, I didn't pop out all the little pieces there. Now I have, okay, let's see. How do I want to do this? I want to snip off this piece because that's not doing anything. And let's see. Well, I could do the whole thing, but in a way that's kind of too big. So I may come back and trim a little bit more off this side. And I may trim some off. I'm not going to worry about the bottom because the bottom, you're not going to see it anyway. So that makes it a little bit smaller, right? Okay, I think I like that. I'm going to put glue on the back of this one. Okay. And then I have this larger piece. Let's see. I'm just going to cut some of those extra pieces off. It's not difficult snipping the extra pieces off. You just have to decide what you want to cut off. And cut that off. I think this side's going to be the bottom, so I don't have to be too particular. And I can just tuck it under like that. And you can have it like that, but I think I'm going to trim a little bit more from this side because I want it to be tucked under a little bit more. Oops. Okay, like that. All right, now more adhesive. There we go. It's already looking pretty nice. So that's all we're going to need for the silicone craft sheet. Move some of my silver foil pieces off to the side. All right, and so now we move on to the sentiment label, which is from the Waves of Inspiration, and it's the Waves dies. Oh, you know what? I took it out, and oh, I hate when I do that. I didn't put it back when I was finished. So likely that die is somewhere on this table, and I just, or, oh gosh, I hope I didn't put it in another stamp case. Oh, have you ever done that? Oh man, you know, one of the things that I've done, I try to put my stamps away as soon as I'm done with them, right? And so, but you know, we get busy, and the stamps are all over your work surface. And one time I remember I couldn't find the stamp anywhere. I was one of them was like, all of a sudden I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked everywhere, couldn't find it any place. A couple of months later, I went to grab a stamp set from my cabinet to go do something with, and there was the missing stamp, like on the back, just stuck on the back of the case. So I must have like put it down on my surface inadvertently right on top of the stamp, didn't realize it was on the back. There it was. Ugh. So I don't know if you guys have done that at all, but that's why I try to put my stamps back and my dies as soon as I'm done using them. But obviously I've kind of screwed up because I'm missing one from this. But anyway, this is the die that's in the Waves of Inspiration, or the Waves dies. And it has, I love it because it has two little, I don't know, handles, little holes on either side. I like that. So what, let's see, I put it on with dimensionals, and then I used the black and white gingham ribbon. Excuse me. Let's see, and I'm gonna put, all right, so I'm gonna put the dimensionals on, and I think I'm gonna use mini dimensionals this time. I'm hesitating because, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do that first, because I'm just thinking if I do that and I tack it down, it makes it that much more difficult to weave my ribbon through. So I think what I'll do is put my ribbon, tack the ribbon down underneath, because all I did was really take 2 strips of ribbon and just put it in one side, wove it through the other side, and had it come through. So the ends are cut both, oh God, like out of camera. So the strips of the ribbon are cut on both ends. You know, sometimes we take it and we wrap it around, but I didn't want to do that with the gold foil because some of it sticks over the edges, and I didn't want it to, you know, like squash it. So, all right, I think what I'll do, get my ribbon scissors. Let me see, what did I measure these? These are like 3.5. I'm gonna make them 3.5 because I can just trim them down a little bit. 3.5 inches long. Okay, let me get my little pin out and then measure 3.5 inches of ribbon. Oops. Okay, there's one, and then I can just use that one as my measurement. Okay. All right, I'm just going to set that aside because I'm going to need more of it to make a ribbon, because I then just tied a ribbon and put a glue dot under it and stuck it on there. All right, So all I did really was just take it and put it through, both of them through like that. Simple, right? So what I'm going to do is put some Stampin' Seal Plus, because regular adhesive doesn't hold ribbon down, and the regular Stampin' Seal doesn't either. So I'm using the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm just putting a couple of strips of that on. And then once we're done putting the ribbon on, we're gonna just put some dimensionals on it and pop it up. All right, so here we go. All right, and I'm just gonna press it down onto the Stampin' Seal. So, and then I can trim the edges. I'll have to see how it looks. So there's one, and we'll do the other one. Simple, right? That way you're using less ribbon. And I don't have a lot of this ribbon left. I mean, it's still in the catalog, and I can order more, but I'm being thrifty. Okay. Let me just measure it and see how it looks. Oh, actually it doesn't, I may trim just a tiny, tiny bit because it's a little frayed. Let's see how that looks. I just don't want it hanging off the edge, right? Okay, so that actually looks kind of good. I am now going to go back to dimensionals and not mini dimensionals. I think 3 ought to do it. Okay, bring my card back in. I'm just going to put it in the center. Okay, now I'm just going to make a bow. And if you're not great at making bows, just make a knot. It doesn't have to be a regular bow. It can be a knot, which is what we call a faux bow. All right. Let me just trim the tail. And I'm going to get a glue dot. Just grab a glue dot. Oh, let's see where my glue dots begin. Oh, here's one. Okay. Oops. And I'm going to put it sideways. Like this. And I'm going to just put it like right on the very edge of the tag. But I don't want to cover up the sentiment label. And there it is. Now, for the inside, I'm not going to finish the inside, but the inside piece measures 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. So you can just cut that piece. You can stamp it with whatever sentiment you want. For the one that I made previously. Oh, you know what I totally forgot to do? Oh, I hate that. All right. So let me just tell you how I might end up being able to do a little bit of it on the bottom. I don't know, can you see it? I made like the splotches. You know, I knew I'd forget a step. All right, so I have the black Stampin' Blend. And I'm just gonna take like the brush side. Let's see if I can get it to work. And I'm gonna just tap it and get some ink, black ink splotches. Let's see. I don't know if you, can you see it? I think you can. All right, I'm gonna kind of do it at the top too. Oh, I got some on the sentiment label. That's okay. This is typically supposed to be like the second step after you do the blending. So my apologies that I'm doing this out of order. Now I'm also using some Wink of Stella, because that's what I used on my other one too. I just want to make sure I got some Wink of Stella left in this one. Let me try my other one. I may need some new Wink of Stella. All right. Yeah, this one is okay. Let's see. So we're gonna do the same technique, right? So you just use your cap and then you tap your brush. And this is gonna give you a little bit of shimmer. And I'm gonna do it at the top as well. Ooh, let me bring this down a little bit. And you're gonna get a little shimmer. And that's it. Let me move that out of the way. You just need to let it dry a little bit, because the Wink of Stella, the black dots will already be dry, but the Wink of Stella is a little wet, so you'll wanna let it dry a little bit. And then this is the sample one that I made. And it actually comes out really, really nice when you do the little bit of spatter. But that's up to you. You don't have to do the spatter if you don't want to. I mean, you can just leave it very simply, because it's so pretty just the way that it is, right? So use your silver foil, and if you don't have it, grab some, because it's so nice. And like I said, they have the rose gold foil paper, as well as the gold foil paper as well. So there's lots to work with. And the Artistically Inked is a carryover from last year. You know, the annual catalog from last year. But you know, don't forget about the stuff that's carried over from last year, and only focus on the brand new stuff, because it has all kinds of possibilities. So I say give it a try. I appreciate you stopping by and sharing your time with me, and I hope you enjoyed my content. I will put additional information in the description below. I'll put the measurements, and I'll also put the instructions over on my blog with the steps in the right order, so that you know that the speckles are supposed to go on as the second step and not the last step. So again, I appreciate you stopping by, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye for now.